because you've done a lot of fantasy pieces now, and some have evolved into bigger stories, genres, worlds, even like what we see with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So, talk to us a bit about the growth of the fantasy pieces that you've done from individual pieces into a collective of pieces, into creating some world in there.
The AfroPreneur Podcast, a podcast for African entrepreneurs, presents inspiring, innovative, and disruptive entrepreneurs from Africa as they share their lessons, insights, and learnings from their unique entrepreneurial ventures. I'll be your host. My name is Ogweno Stephen. Let's roll.
Yeah, so what many people don't know is I'm a very imaginative person, and since I was a kid, I'll take you back to when I was a kid, because all these things happened to me when I was a kid, but have I didn't have clarity that I was to pursue such. So when I remember before I did my exams in primary school, I would imagine myself as a certain character. So it's like I'm this character, then it's war, then there are other heroes. So the other heroes were my classmates. So this is just in my head. So this is the exam beforehand. So a few days before the exam, it's me thinking all this. So my classmates are these other heroes. They have their own unique superpowers, blah blah blah. And I'm there with my own unique superpowers, and we are fighting
You
and
want to
fighting.
conquer the exam.
Exactly. So we are fighting and fighting and fighting. So everything happens in my head. Then after we are fighting, I'd beat like everybody. And that's how I'd have this champion mindset. The time I conquer everyone in my head, that's how I used to conquer exams. So I remember since I was in class, let me say class what? Class 2, going onwards. So I was number one, class 2, class 3. It reached even a point my teachers wanted me to, go to the next class. Like, you're wasting yourself being in this class. We want you to go to the next class, ESA. But I refused that. Kasema wacha nibaki kwa class yenye niko. So that's how I used to do it. Imagine this universe whereby we are all heroes, or rather we all have superpowers, and we are fighting to become the winners, or rather the champions of this battle. And who is going to be the top position. That's how I used to do it, but hakuna mtu alikuwa anajua at the time. So class 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So in class 6, I was taken to another school where we had very stiff competition, actually in class 5. So from class 5, I would find myself there, position 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. And I think at that time I had stopped imagining. So the imaginations were from class 1 to class 4,
5.
and early 5, because mid class 5 is when I was transferred to another school that had stiffer competition. So I found myself being position 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. But in my KCP, I was position 2. So the first person had the first person scored a mark above me. So just 1 mark. Yeah. Otherwise, we would have tied, or I would have beaten the person. But that is how the imaginative self started. So from there, now in campus and finishing campus, I brought all these characters that I had imagined growing up, because even in high school there was another character that I embodied. So in Bush, people used to call me Iceberg. So Iceberg is a character that I created and I was embodying. So it's this character who is very blocky in my head. Like a very huge, blocky, ice blocky person. So the superpowers were crystals, ice crystals, and all that. He had super strength, mostly on the strength bit. Yeah, so that was Iceberg. So from 2, 3, 4, that was my nickname, Iceberg. Yeah, then from that now coming to campus, another character, Stephen G. So Stephen G is I normally separate Stephen Maithya and Stephen G in that now Stephen Maithya is the scientist and Stephen G is now this creator. This creative person, this imaginative person and all that. But now Stephen Maithya is more of the chilled, brilliant scientist. Then now Stephen G is now the creative person, and these two people, or rather these two conscience, have to work together to create stuff. Yes. So now coming from the character that I used to embody in primary school to now Iceberg in high school, now to present Stephen G in campus and now. Yes.
Yeah, we are almost coming to a close for this, so 3 more questions to go. Talk to us about Fictive and what you've done there.
Yeah, so Fictive, for the longest time, I looked up to Stan Lee, the late Stan Lee. And Stan Lee has inspired me in a number of ways, in that he's the one who created the superhero characters that we have today. And these are the same superheroes or other villains. Both superheroes and villains who have been celebrated and acted in with Marvel and the likes. So you see how we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've always wanted to have something of the sorts, but now it becomes African owned. So if I could have my own superhero characters that I have created from scratch and they are originally African and all that, and they have superpowers that are also kinda African, but even in as much as they borrow some elements or rather maybe westernized superpowers, but I wanted to make them as African as they can be. Yeah, so that's how Fictive came about, and Fictive is basically a collection of all the superheroes under one umbrella. Just like we have the Marvel Cinematic Universe or DC or Walt Disney. So that now we can have, Fictive is now in charge of this and this and that and that and that character. So from these characters now we can have movies, we can have comic books, we can have video games and all that. Yes.
I see. Second to last question, what are some of the other awards and recognitions that you've had over your period of working as a photographer, and what are some of the renowned people that you've worked with in the space as well?
So I've won a couple of awards, mostly in fashion. So I've won Fashion Photographer of the Year Kenya Fashion Awards, Fashion Photographer of the Year Kenya, Swahili Fashion Week Awards, which is based in Tanzania. I've won Creative Photographer of the Year Kenya Photography Awards. I have won Fashion Photographer of the Year Pwani International Fashion Week Awards, that is P4. I was shortlisted for Sony World Photography Awards, that was in 2018. I was also nominated for Fashion Photographer of the Year Africa. That was way back also in 2018. That is under the Brand, Style and Fashion Awards. And I was also nominated for Young Entrepreneur of the Year Bizna Awards. Yes. Those are the awards and accolades that I have garnered. Some of the renowned people that I've worked with include Ajib Gadoni. These are some of the influencers. We have Ajib Gadoni. We have Martina Gonzalez. We have presenter Ali. We have Alma Mudeu. We have Maureen Kunga, Flaco. I've worked with Nyota Ndogo. I think she's the first celebrity that I did shoot for. That was way, way back. Like the first celebrity that I encountered was Nyota Ndogo. But there are celebrities that I have had conversations with and we are yet to work with. I have a couple of contacts we do to talk over the phone, and we are planning on doing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, but I've worked with quite a number of renowned people. Some are CEOs of certain companies, some are influencers, some are music artists, and some are just basically artists.
Yeah, so final question. What would be your key takeaways seeing all of your experience and how it relates to people in general, especially young people who are trying to follow their dreams and passions and whatnot? So what would be your key takeaways as a summary of your life's experiences to date and how someone listening might get some value off of that?
It's one thing that I can say. It's not an easy journey. It's tough because you see there is a lot of uncertainty, and especially when it comes to finances. So you might, let's say in this month or in these 2-3 months, you might be very busy. There are gigs left, right, and center. You're being booked and all that. Then there are months that things are either slow or there's nothing happening. So you see, dealing with that uncertainty, not many people have the spirit or the heart to deal with that. Because even for myself, there are times, especially when there's nothing going on, and this is where I think me and Stoel will discuss now. This is now matters to do with mental health. So if you are venturing, or rather if you're a beginner who wants to venture in this space, the space that I am, just know that there are high seasons and there are low seasons and all that, and you should brace up, to deal with both sides, because there are times you're booked and there are times there's nothing happening or things are just running slow. So you have to be prepared for that. You have to learn financial literacy, know how to manage your finances. At times whereby, let's say, there are no jobs, what would you do? You have to eat. Remember, you have to pay your house rent. So how do you balance that? So learning how to manage yourself, how to manage your time, how to manage finances is a very crucial aspect of this journey, because people just think, oh, it's just creative stuff, go shoot and all that. There's so many things that happen behind the scenes. Especially what I'm stressing is time management, personal management, and financial management. Yeah, so not many people are well versed with financial management. I have this money in the next 3 months, perhaps, when I want to be doing any job. So how do I manage this? What I have? So you get so many people at that time when it reaches, because they think that every month or every day you have a gig, you're shooting, you're very busy, but that is not the case. Behind the scenes, you might have a whole month or a whole 2 months or a whole 3 months whereby you're getting either 1 or 2 bookings or even none. So you have to be well prepared
to manage the circumstances.
Yes.
All right, cool. I think that brings us to the end of this very fast part of this conversation with Stephen Maithya, and we'll end it at that, and be sure to catch us on the next conversation where we'll now go into some elements of leadership, financial literacy, mental health, entrepreneurship, and how the context actually looks like. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening, and that's a wrap for this episode. For more exciting episodes like this, don't forget to follow our podcast, the AfroPreneur Podcast, on all streaming sites, and visit our website at www.ogwenostephen.com. See you on the next one.